23 to parcel 22. So when I think about the two parcels, they make up our parking lot. There's a single-family home on one of those. Our end goal here, covered under a subdivision request, is to change the size of parcel 23 so that it's just the house, so that the church can sell that single-family home. We have used it in the past for our office building. We have been shrinking in members, although we're still relatively healthy, but we no longer need that space. We've moved the office into the church, so we would like to sell that building. We still want the parking lot, so we want to shrink the size of that lot, move the rest of the square foot to the rest of the parking lot. So that will increase the amount of impervious space on parcel 22, which will gain all of that extra macadam from the parking spaces when we just make parcel 23 the house. So that's the gist of it when we think about what we're trying to do.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the commission? Approximately how much square footage are you adding to the impervious?
Today, the two lots, when I think of parcel 23, which is the larger lot, it has the house and some of the parking lot, it's about 9,400 square feet. And then the second lot, which is just parking today, is 6,602. We want to move 2,600, about 2,600 feet from that first one to the second one. So we're going to increase the second one by 2,600, and that'll put that up to about, what is that, 82, 92.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone from the public who would like to address this case? Are there any further questions? Anything else from staff? Is there a motion?
Fucking numbers aren't on here again.
I move to recommend to approve a variance to increase the impervious surface in section 1303.10 at 425 Pacific Avenue in the RS2 zoning district.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call?
Johnston.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Velez.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
So approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next case is 32-2023-Z-V. Can we have a staff report?
Property address is 503 East King Street. Applicant, Professional Design and Construction, Larry Prescott, 61 Church Street, Landisville, Pennsylvania. Owner is Wire Mesh Products. Rich Viva, okay, 501 East King Street, York, PA. Zoning district is Employment Center District. The applicant is seeking a variance to decrease the required parking spaces and relief from residential setbacks. The applicant seeks variance to decrease required parking spaces and relief from residential setbacks. Staff have reviewed the variance provision in 1303.14.EC and finds that the property is big enough to decrease the parking requirements and relieve the residential setbacks. Therefore, staff recommends approval of variance to decrease the required parking spaces and relief from residential setbacks at the property of 501 East King Street.
Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Joseph Mina. I'm an engineer with Ritu, representing Rich and Wire Mesh. Rich is the owner. Larry Prescott is the architect and construction guru. And we're here to request your recommendation for our zoning variances. I do have one administrative item. There are actually 5 zoning variances in this application that we did, but you only read 2 off.
Well, that's a problem.
What are the other 3?
There is a variance to provide less than 1.5 spaces per. There's a variance to allow the extension of the current building to be non-conforming. There's a variance that the parking shall not be reduced, and we are actually increasing it. So that would be more of an interpretation. And then there's a variance for the buffering and screening that's required along King Street. And finally, the variance for the means of access and maneuvering.
I've never heard of that one.
Okay, so 3 of them seem to be parking to me.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so 3 of them seem to be the parking variance that you need. The buffering, you didn't mention anything about setbacks. So that's with your buffering and, so what it is wrapped up in a nutshell, they're gonna build an extension so that they were gonna just go for land development subdivision, that sort of thing. But they are decreasing the amount of parking spaces that they currently have to build the extension. And so they phase, Fulton Street is actually residential, even though they are in the EC zoning district. So they need the setbacks because they face a residential area. So, and I don't know, what was that last one? I have a feeling that goes with the land development subdivision, but I'm not sure. I got a little lost.
Section 1309.4A4A, requiring appropriate means of access and maneuvering for off-street parking. And we have a layout that stacks parking on the design, and that's,
But you're already currently stacking them. I think we talked about that in the land development process of that. And we were just requiring you to, because they were already stacked, they didn't really have an issue with that.
okay. So it was an interpretation that took that off and
So,
made it move.
so technically, we're back to where we are.
Okay, just one.
Okay, for the parking, yeah, for the parking and the setbacks for the residential side of it. Okay, so, yeah, because we talked about that, and because it was kind of like, I think, going on to Market Street and/or Fulton Avenue, that those are improvements that you will make during the land development subdivision process. The improvements to the concrete, you know what I mean, to the curbing and everything
have on our
there.
plan,
So that, right, and so that the maneuvering part of that will be just to make sure that we can get in and out of there in case of fire. That sort of thing, that our fire trucks in and out of there, but that's on the land development subdivisions.
And there will be an appropriate fire lane going from, you got Market, Fulton, or King, I guess, and Fulton are the 3 there.
Right,
And then you can go right through the site on both sides, either attack it from the street or attack it from the lane that our trucks
correct.
come through.
But that will be something that we will discuss, you know, that if you need any waivers or when we discuss that in the land development subdivision process.
Excellent, okay.
Does that
thank you.
make sense?
I wanted to make sure that you guys weren't voting on something and you didn't know there were hidden things in there, so I didn't want to have any kind of surprises pop
So
up.
that's why I was surprised. I'm like going, this is just the zoning part of it.
All right, thank you,
So
Nancy.
we'll include those things on the land development side of it.
All right, so in the application, we are providing a building addition of approximately 4,500 square feet. It's to improve operational efficiency inside the plant. There are no new employees being hired for this. This is just a improvement of processes. Along Fulton Street, we're extending the existing building face approximately 80 feet along Fulton Street, and that's where the variance comes in because we are not within the building setback that we are already non-conforming. So we're extending that non-conforming building line. And then the parking, with the reconfiguration, we are adding 10 spaces to the overall lot, but that still falls short of the required 1.5 per employee. Did you guys have any specific questions or?
Anyone have questions for him? So you'll be returning with a land development plan then?
Yes, we will. Yes, we've actually submitted it, and it's gone through the first review. We have a set of comments waiting on the outcome of the zoning.
Right upon when they submitted it was when we determined, they're going to need a variance for the parking and for the setbacks along the residential side. So that's when we halted the land development part of it. so that they could get zoning approval first.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Anyone from the public that would like to address this case? Hearing none, do we have a motion on the variance to decrease the number of parking?
I recommend approval of a variance to decrease the number of parking spaces in section 1304.01-6.01.001D at 501 East King Street.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call?
Johnson,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Velez,
Aye.
Burgos, Richardson.
So moved. Do we have a motion for the variance for decreasing setback?
I recommend approval of a variance to decrease the setbacks in the residential side of Fulton Avenue in section 1303.12 for the property located at 501 East King Street.
Any further discussion? May we have a roll call?
Johnson,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Velez,
Aye.
Burgos, Richardson.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Case 33-2023-Z-V, 1050 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Applicant is RGS Associates, located at 201 West Philadelphia Street, Suite 108E, York, PA. Owner, Spirit Trust Lutheran. Co-owner, Bob Rundle, 1050 Pennsylvania Ave, York, PA. The zoning district is RS1, single-family detached residential conservation district. The applicant is seeking a variance to increase the impervious surface. The applicant seeks a variance to increase the impervious surface. Staff has reviewed and the variance provision of 1303.09.RS1 and finds that the property is big enough to increase the pervious surface. Therefore, staff recommends approval to increase the impervious surface at the property of 1050 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Joel Snyder with RGS Associates. With me this evening is Bob Rundle, who's President and CEO of Spirit Trust Communities. What they're proposing, and this is Pennsylvania Avenue at the bottom of the page, and their Kelly Drive campus community is right here in this area, and it's under a couple different parcels that they own. There's a 2.7-acre parcel that fronts on Pennsylvania Avenue, which currently houses two residential buildings. Each one is a quad, so there's 8 residential units. And then this building and parking lot are essentially the corporate headquarters for Spirit Trust. What they would like to do is subdivide, and we would come back with a subdivision plan, the variances approved, but strike a subdivision line where I'm pointing here, so between the one residential building and the corporate headquarters and the parking lot. Both of the lots are, they would meet all of the requirements. It's simply by striking this line, the place, the lot where the corporate headquarters is currently located and the parking, it creates an existing condition that where we would exceed the impervious on that lot. We're not adding anything. It's just with the impervious there and now creating this 0.95 acre lot, it now would exceed the impervious where it currently doesn't. That's really all we're trying to do at this point. That makes sense. The reason they would like to subdivide is, as things have gone, they're not using the corporate headquarters nearly as much. They still will continue to use it, but at some point in time, they may choose to sell that portion off if they find that they're no longer using it. In the RS1 zone, there's actually very limited uses. Currently, that exists. The office use exists as an accessory to the retirement campus that is there. So more than likely, if somebody were to buy it, they would have to modify that lot, and it would most likely come into compliance with the impervious at that point in time.
Any questions? Anyone else who would like to address this case? Hearing none, do we have a motion on the variance to increase the impervious surface?
I recommend to approve the variance to increase the impervious surface in section 1303.09 at 1050 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Second.
Any further discussion? May we have a roll call?
Johnson,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Velez,
Aye.
Burgos,
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Case 34-2023-Z-SE.
Property doesn't have an address at this point, so the parcel number is 09-205-0840000-00000. Applicant, Children's Aid Society, 343 Lincoln Way West, New Oxford, Pennsylvania. Owner, Children's Aid Society. Oh, yeah, it's actually the same. Zoning district is UN2, Urban Residential Neighborhood District. Summary, the applicant is seeking a special exception to add a child care center. Variance 1 appeal. The applicant seeks a special exception to add a child care center. Staff has reviewed the variance provision in 1304.01.3.06.001 and finds the property is big to add a child care center. Therefore, staff recommend approval of a special exception to add a child care center at the property parcel number 09-205-0840000-00000.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? My name is Eric Chase, and I am the president and CEO of the Children's Aid Society. And with me is Adam Anderson of Site Design Concepts. That's okay. It's just my timing of everything, so thank you so much. I just want to tell you a little bit about what the Children's Aid Society is, because many people don't know what we do and who we are. And the Children's Aid Society is a 501c3 nonprofit that has been in this community of York City for about 37 years. You may know us as the Lehman Center. That's how most people know us. We're in the 400 block of Market Street, and we have basically outgrown our 125-year-old facility. We were able to secure the land at the parcel that he mentioned, which is in the 600 block of Poplar Street, from the Calvary United Methodist Church as a gift in kind to us in November. And basically what we do is we provide respite care for families at no cost to them. We provide emergency shelter for children that are suffering homelessness in their life. And we are also looking for this variance with child care as a result of the pandemic. We started this process, we were before you in January of 2021 when we got approval for the expanded group space that we needed from 8 to 16 for our crisis nursery. But we're back with you because post-pandemic, I don't know if you realized that about 58 child care facilities closed in York County post-pandemic, which leaves about 85% unserved children under the age of 5 in our community and 89% of infant and toddlers. And as a result of remote working, we had 18 offices proposed in the original design of this building. We are now down to 9. So we decided what we would do with that extra square footage, and our board and our planning group decided that the need for a child care, especially in the west end of town, would be beneficial to this community. So that's what we're proposing to you today. As you know, as you can see in the plans, we are on a site presently. It's a parking lot, which is a non-conforming use, and we're proposing group quarters in a child care facility, which is another non-conforming use. As I said before, we were previously granted a variance in January for the group quarters, and now we're asking for this additional need. And I'll turn it over to Adam that can give you all of the details. He is our site design engineer, and I think you have all the plans and stuff in front of you, and then we'll be happy to take any questions. Adam?
Just a slight correction, both times it's a special exception, it's not a variance.
Special exception,
Yep.
I'm sorry, thank you.
That's okay.
All right. Well, good evening. My name's Adam Anderson, like Eric had mentioned, with Site Design Concepts, and we prepared the site plan that was part of the package. So yeah, the property, I think the Plan Commission has seen this before, like we had mentioned with the other special exception, but it's between Poplar Street, School Place, West Street over here, and Belvedere here. And like Eric had mentioned, it's a vacant parking lot, a lot of unregistered vehicles on there, so we feel that this is a much better use. So you can see with the site plan, we have an 8,000 square foot building here, like a two-story. Then we have the parking lot over here, and then the green area is a play area that's required as part of not only the group quarters, but as part of the child care center. So it is located in the Salem Square community. And one thing I missed there. So the dashed area right here is a potential underground stormwater management facility. So what we're doing with our application here is we're coming through, getting the approvals necessary, or seeking approvals necessary for the zoning side of it, and then we're also in tandem preparing a land development plan that'll be submitted and brought before you at a later date. So there are a number of items in the application relative to the special exception. If you'd like, I can go through those specific requirements, or I mean, if the application speaks for itself, we can just entertain questions.
Would you like to touch upon a few of them that may have some concern for yourself?
That we find concerning? I don't think that there's any in here that we feel issue, being able to meet. So, for example, licensures, we don't feel that the child care center will have an issue gaining permits or licensure from the state or local levels. Plenty of parking, drop-off areas. So we have this hatched area right here, and then we feel that we have enough queuing if there would be a backup of vehicles dropping off children, that it would stack on site rather than on the public street. I also feel that we'd have a lot of pedestrian.
And as far as licensing, we already run 2 licensed facilities that are approved by the state of Pennsylvania, and we've already reached out to the DHS Department of Early Childhood Learning to kind of have them look at the plans and make sure that the plans are following compliance with them at this point.
Any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion for the special exception?
I recommend approval of a special exception to allow a child care center use as defined in section 1304.01-3.06.001 for the parcel 09-205-084-000-00000.
Second.
Any further discussion? May we have a roll call?
Johnson,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Velez,
Aye.
Burgos, Richardson.
Thank you, John. Do we have any update on the comprehensive
I
plan?
knew that was coming next. No. I emailed, what's her name? Jessica. I couldn't think, I was drawing a blank. Emailed her, I didn't receive anything back from her.
The update is that the schedule has been pushed back. So we're not looking at August adoption, we're looking at December.
Do you have your microphone on? Okay, that's to say. December, did you say? I'm sorry. Okay. So there you have it. I don't even have an email that's reflective upon that from Jessica, so.
If we're looking at December, then I take it that public meetings have been pushed back as well?
They will be, we haven't, planned them, we haven't scheduled them at all,
Okay.
but the next time we meet, that's the agenda.
All right. Any other items for discussion?
No, other than everybody got their updated once a month, Monday evening, I guess it's the fourth Monday of each month. I mean, if truly, for some reason that none of you are gonna show up, let me know. But, you know, I'm sure we'll always have topics of discussion. Come, if you don't mind, each of you come with a different topic if you can, or something that you think about that needs to be discussed. No particular case, but different, say, zoning things or land development subdivision things that, you know, are brought to, you know, need to be brought up. So we can talk about that and just cover different things every Monday, every once a month on the Monday meetings.
I won't be there
Ever?
this Monday.
Oh, okay. Is it this Monday? No, it's not this Monday.
This month, I won't.
Oh, this month, okay. Okay, I thought you said this Monday.
Oh, is this coming up?
No, isn't,
This is Monday.
this is this Monday.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, it is this Monday?
I was thinking next week, okay.
Okay, you know what, hold on, I might not.
It's the
29th, I'm good, if it's the 29th, I'm good.
it's the
A
24th.
good chance if our new person is, even if, I get, they could still be in an executive session, even if they're not confirmed, because they're not making any decisions.
True.
So we could do some onboarding, we could like look at that, like, what questions did we have, try and get her up to speed a little bit quicker than the rest of us were, so.
True,
we could
that's
make
a,
point
that's a
of that.
good point, that's a
Yeah.
good point. I'll reach out to her and, well, actually, I need to add her in the email list. I just don't want to blindside her and add her to this meeting that she has no idea what it is.
I would say as long as we're confident that the mayor is going to give the okay, we wouldn't want to do that, and then we'd be blindsided with him.
Well, I'm gonna have to reach out to Diana then, because I don't know where it stands. Should have asked her today, but I had a million other things going on. But yeah, should have asked her today, but I didn't have an opportunity to do that. So I'll try to reach out to Diana tomorrow to see if she has gotten, the mayor's approval and whether or not Nicole is gonna be, sworn in on, next Tuesday. Okay, cool. Anything else from anybody?
Anyone else have anything to add? We stand adjourned.